UFC 302, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier. What a great card that was. What a great card. This is the post-fight reaction with your boy Enzo. Let's go. I want to go straight into the main event. Islam Makhachev defending his belt against Dustin the Diamond Poirier. You know what? Like I said on my fight preview, I said if Islam was to be successful in this fight, if he was to defend his belt, he was gonna have to mix it up, mix it up a bit. You know, mix up the fight a bit. We all know Islam is a well-rounded fighter. He's compared to Khabib Nurmagomedov, but for me, Islam is more well-rounded. He can stand, he can go toe-to-toe, he can take you down, he can choke you out, he's good, he's got great kickboxing ability, he's got great boxing. So for me, Islam is the more well-rounded fighter when you compare him to Khabib Nurmagomedov. No offense to Khabib, he's a great fighter. He's one of my favorite of all time. So yeah, first round, they come out. Islam, they trade a bit, they trade for a bit, and then Islam, just like I predicted, goes for the takedown, manages to take Dustin's back. He took his back. He was always attempting submissions, and Dustin was kind of like punching behind Islam, and you know, and Islam was attempting the submissions, and he wasn't successful. He was trying to also, trying to threaten with the armbar as well. But yeah, just keeping Dustin thinking, just keeping him busy, keeping him thinking. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't letting Dustin relax at all while they was on the ground. So that first round went pretty much to plan as I predicted. The champion traded a little bit, but then went for the takedown. Second round, they come out. Now, this was the very interesting round for me. The second round was very interesting. Islam Makhachev attempted a few takedowns, but to Justin's credit, he stuffed all the takedowns. He did really well in the second round. He stuffed all the takedowns. That's when it got a bit dangerous for Islam. They started trading. They were trading, going blow for blow. Now we all know, like Dustin Poirier is very explosive. He's very explosive, and he's got great boxing. We've seen him finish a lot of fighters. He's got great boxing, and once he has you, walking back, and once he has you against the cage, he's one of the best finishes in the UFC. So he is starting to tag Islam with a couple of jabs, starting to tag Islam, and Islam was kind of walking back. But to Islam's credit, he was coming back as well with his own combination as well, and he was hurting. He was hurting Dustin as well. He was definitely hurting Dustin as well, going to the body, jab, and also they came to a clinch. Whenever they came to that clinch where Islam will grab hold of Poirier's head or neck, Poirier would then just let he would just be letting the punch. He'll go with the punches to the body. He'll be letting shots go to the body. But I think because they're so close together in a clinch, it hasn't those body shots don't really have much of an impact. But what Dustin did have an impact is when he went for the elbows. When he went for the elbows, he did cut up Makhachev. He cut him up. There was blood, and it was getting very interesting. By the third round, Makhachev was bleeding, and it was getting very, very interesting. But I still think the champion was doing enough to win those rounds. Dustin had a great second round. He had a very, very solid, good second round because he stuffed all the takedowns, and he was able to tag the champion. But I think from 3 to 4, I think Islam took back control of the fight, and for me, he was winning the fight at this stage. But it was more competitive than I thought it would be. I thought this fight, if Islam was able to get Dustin on the floor, take the fight to the ground, I thought it would be a more comfortable fight. But fair play to Dustin, though. He had a Gamra or something like that, some other fight, a wrestler. He had him out, come out to camp, and they worked tirelessly. And you can tell he paid dividend in this fight. Dustin has some great takedown defense in this fight, because not everyone does great stuff in Islam's takedown. So well done to Justin for really working at that, working hard at that, and that gave him the ability, the possibility to then go after Islam. And while they're trading, Dustin always has an opportunity, because Dustin, we know his stand-up is great, he's amazing. So as long as he kept the fight on the feet, he had every chance. And he kind of looked like the champion, Islam Makhachev, was kind of like tiring himself. But to his credit, he was coming back as well. Now let's just move on straight. Let's go to round 5. From round 5, they're both bleeding, they're both hurt. You can tell this is it. This is it now. So they come out for the 5th round, and again, it wasn't a bad round for Dustin Poirier. The 5th round, as I remember, it wasn't that bad. For me personally, he done well. For me, again, the start of the rounds, he was doing well. He was getting his jab going. He was trying to swing as well, because obviously he knows he has to win. He has to get the champion out of there. He has to knock him out for TKO to win the belt. That was his last opportunity that he had. But unfortunately for him, as they were sweating with the blood and everything, they kind of got body getting slippery. Islam Makhachev, he shot down he went for the single leg. As he went for the leg, Dustin kind of staffed it, but because it's so slippery, Islam was actually smart. He kind of like just swept his legs away. He swept Dustin's legs away. Then he made Dustin slip. As he slipped, Islam went straight for the neck. He went straight for the neck. And as they were kind of like on that scramble and everything, Islam managed to get the Das choke going on. And once he got that squeeze on it, that was it. There was no coming back to it. There was no coming back from that, because with Islam Makhachev, he's got one of the hardest squeeze in the UFC when it comes to submission game. So as soon as he got Dustin in that Das choke, I looked out for, this is it. This is over, man. And before you know it, he had him there. There wasn't long left in the fight. After about 10 seconds, he tried to hold on after 10 seconds. With his last breath or something like that, he just tapped out. You know what I mean? Just just tapped out. He tapped out. And after, when the referee eventually managed to stop the fight, get Islam off Dustin, you can actually tell that Dustin he was gone. He was put to sleep. He was put to sleep. It took him a while, about 10 seconds to regain consciousness. But yeah, man, overall, great fight. For me, this is what I like about Islam Makhachev. This is why I kind of separate him from Khabib Nurmagomedov. I know, obviously, look, they're related, the family, the cousins, grew up in the same place, Dagestan, have a similar fighting style. But for me, this is why I say I prefer Islam Makhachev. His fights are more exciting. We've seen him defend his belts twice against the former featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. And the first fight they had was very competitive. He won by Islam Makhachev won by a split decision, but it was a very close fight. The second fight, Alex Volkanovski had 2 weeks notice, but Islam, he handled business. He finished him, leg kick to the head, finished him. So he closed the chapter on that. But even in this fight against Poirier, we've seen Islam Makhachev, he had to overcome adversity. He had a big gash in his head. From an elbow he took from Dustin Poirier. He had he was bleeding. There was blood everywhere. So he had to overcome that. Some fighters, they'll see blood and they start panicking. The whole game plan goes out the window. So fair play to Islam Makhachev for keeping his composure, keeping his discipline, sticking with the jab. And also what he done, one thing I like about what he done, he never stopped attempting the takedown. For me, it's key. A lot of fighters, they'll attempt the takedown and they'll get stuffed. The other fighter will stuff their takedowns about 9 times. No, not with these Dagestani guys, man. Not with Ali, you know, Habib and all these guys, man, they'll keep trying to take you down. Out of 10 times, if you stuff 9, that 10 times that they go for, you be tired and they'll take you down. And that's exactly what happened in this fight against Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier was very good at stuffing the takedown from round 2 to 4. But when he most needed it, when Dustin most needed to stuff a takedown, he was too tired. He was too tired. He was too sweaty, blood. He was exhausted. And fair play to Islam Makhakev. He went for the takedown. He got it and he got the job done. He's defending his belt. Now, it was very interesting post-fight. And when I first start with Dustin Poirier, you know, his post-fight interview, you know, he was kind of wondering, you know, he kind of left everyone wondering whether he's ever gonna step his foot in the octagon again. That's still to remain to be seen. He still needs to answer that. But the way he's looking at it is that what more can he do? Do you know what I mean? He's had to climb that mountain 3 times, yeah, and he has not been successful. Every time he's gone for a world title at light heavyweight, he's not won it. He's come up short. You know, he's been choked out on all 3 attempts. So I think for him, psychologically, he's thinking he's 35 years old now. He's got a family. Do you know what I mean? Training is hard. The preparation, staying away from your family, the psychological trauma that you go through, everything, the mental stress, everything is so challenging that he's thinking to himself, do I really still want to do it? Is this still worth it? Do I really want to have to climb that mountain again to get another opportunity? Because there's some killers in that lightweight division. There's up and coming fighters that are just hungry for that belt. So does Dustin Poirier really want to go through that again? I just feel like he doesn't. But if a big money fight comes up, like a BMF title or maybe he has an opportunity to fight someone in the welterweight division or middleweight, like some kind of a grudge fight or something like that, maybe a Colby Covington, someone like that that will get his juices pumping and get his blood bubbling and all that. He might come back. If the money's right, he might come back. But I don't see him going through all these young bloods coming in and trying to go for another world title. I just don't think he's got that in him. Maybe if McGregor versus Chandler, the winner of that, if McGregor comes through that, you know, I think Dustin will be very much interested in taking that fight. That's a fight I can see him taking. Him and McGregor, they've been going back and forth. So I can see him taking that fight and just settling that once and for all. With Islam Makhachev, his post-fight interview was all about he wants to move up. He wants to, you know, challenge for the welterweight title. And we've got Leon Edwards. He's taking on Ali and Muhammad. He's taking on Muhammad. Yeah, Edwards is taking on Muhammad next. So if Edwards was to come through that would be a very interesting matchup. I think the UFC will probably make that happen. If Edwards comes through his next title defense, I can see him and Islam Makhachev going at it. At some point, probably at the end of this year or early next year, I can see them definitely going for that, because that's what Islam Makhachev wants. That's his next fight. He wants to challenge himself. Do you know what I mean? He wants to challenge. So he feels like he's done enough in the lightweight division. He wants to challenge himself. I can understand that. He's a great fighter. Why not? He's the pound for pound best. Why not? Why not give him a chance, give him a bite at being champ, double champ? You know, either McGregor's done it. Who else has done it? You've got Daniel Cormier's done it. So yeah, man. Islam Makhachev, he wants to be next up. So we'll see. You see if Edwards can come through his fight with Muhammad, then that fight will be available for him. So the co-main event, we had Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Like I said in my fight preview, I didn't see Costa winning that fight. I just didn't think he had a gas tank. But to his defense, he did prove me wrong. He lasted the whole 5 rounds, which I thought he was probably going to get finished in the 3rd to 4th round. But fair play to Costa. He did last 5 rounds. And you know what? The fight was closer than I thought it would be. I thought Sean Strickland will be a bit too much. You have too much cardio, endurance. The pace was going to be the fight was going to be of a high pace. So I thought, you know, Sean Strickland will probably just get to Costa. But you know what? Sean Strickland, he started well. He won about 3 rounds for me. But he did have some problems with Costa. You know, he couldn't put Paulo Costa away. So I was a bit surprised by that. But I'm not surprised at the overall result of Sean Strickland winning, because I just feel like Paulo Costa, you know, he's kind of had his days. Excuse me, he's had his days. I just don't think he's got that hunger in him. Ever since Israel Adesanya, you know, knocked him out, beat him, you know, he lost something. Paulo Costa used to be aggressive, high energy. Do you know what I mean? He used to be on the front foot. He used to chase people down and throw bombs at them. Now he just doesn't do that anymore. Something's happened. He's lost some of his confidence ever since he had that fight with Israel Adesanya. You know, so he's at a crossroads right now. You know, he can't really beat the top 5 guys, and you know, does he really want to fight like a fighter who's ranked 10th, 15th? Would he really be hungry for that? He doesn't fight enough anyway. He's hard enough trying to get him in the octagon against the top 5 fighters. I don't think he'll be even motivated for, you know, the less ranked opponent. So yeah, Paulo Costa's got some big decisions to make in the coming months, where he wants to take his journey next, you know, because I just feel like he has a lot of work to do. If he wants to get back to the top and be challenging for titles, he's got a long way to go. But yeah, man, this was it. This was my UFC 302 post-match review. Let me know in the comments what you think. What was your fight of the night? Let me know your fight of the night. Kevin Holland winning via arm bar. Do you know what I mean? I think he snapped the guy's arm. It looked like he snapped it, but then when they stopped the fight, the arm looked all right. But yeah, congratulations to Kevin Holland for that win. But yeah, this was my post-fight analysis for UFC 302. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button. Share the link. I appreciate you, and I'll be back with the next installments. See you soon. Peace.